Hello everyone. Today, I'm going to make an analysis for Brazil's demographics. Before start, let's talk about some basic information of Brazil. Its total land area is 8.516 million kilometers, and about 3/5 of the total area is occupied by the west region of the Amazon and La Plata river basins. The summer rains from December to February. The rainy season is from October to March, but varies from region to region. Brazil is a country that is well known as the fifth big bloc in both its land area and population. The current population in Brazil is 212.78 million inhabitants. The population is expected to peak at 229.6 million in 2014. However, the growth rate has been significantly declining. The expected growth rate after 2045 will decline slowly from the point of -0.01%. One of the most dominant reasons that cause the growth rate decrease is the decay of its fertility rate. This graph shows the current birth rate of this country. Overview the graph. It is able to find that Brazil seems to be facing a serious issue of infant birth currently, since the mid-1940s. In 1880, millions of slaves were forced to serve for the coffee plantation that caused the increase of population, and a slight rise of birth rate that contributed to the national birth rate slightly. From 1939 to 1945, Brazil claimed itself as a neutral member globally, but the government joined the Allies in World War II in 1943. In 1945, President Vargas was protested to ousted in military coup, and the country was managed with a brand new constitution which caused a turmoil among the people. Finally, in 1950, Vargas was elected to become the president again. This is the historical crude death rate. The statistic began at 1950 with a crude death rate of 16.1 thousand per year. As the year flowing, we can observe that the rate keeps declining to the horizontal axis, and it is only 6.61 to 2020. The factor led to the decline is the enhancement of life expectancy after the living standard improving and people are being wealthy than before with the progress of the times. Also, the government in Brazil has started to slam reduction by funding and improving living conditions. What's cheerful is that the life expectancy of Brazil has been increasing since the mid-1920s till nowadays. However, the rate seems to slightly start declining, which will be more obvious at the point of the end of the 1990s and the start of the 2000s, since 1950, as the graph becomes more parallel to the horizontal axis than before. But there's a tricky point that a fossa occurred in the graph at 1918 due to the Spanish flu pandemic. Referring to the crude birth rate, the total fertility rate of Brazil keeps declining since the beginning of these statistics, which was 1960 correspondingly. To explain why the crude birth rate from 1960 to modern looks lower than the fertility rate, it is because that the number of babies per woman could be more than one, so the average crude birth rate should be 2 or 3 times, depending on the average number of babies per woman half of the total fertility rate. And similar to the crude death rate, the possibility of infant mortality in Brazil is becoming less to happen since the statistics began, which is 1960. With the medical, environmental, and economic development of the country, Now, let's analyze the population of Brazil from this pyramid. In 1960, we can recognize that Brazil was the first stage country at that time with the features of high birth rate and high death rate. The younger people are more than the older people, which shaped the pyramid as a perfect triangle. The proportion of male and female is well distributed in this pyramid, and the male's birth rate is little higher than females, but females' life expectancy is little higher than the males observed from the top of the pyramid. From the pyramid of 2020, Brazil had been a country on the fourth stage, which with the features of very low birth rate and high life expectancy, and the middle-aged adults from 20 to 16 to 39 dominates the population. What does not change is that the males and females' birth rate and the females' life expectancy. Then, in the future 2060, the proportion of population will be not that well distributed between males and females, that more female can live until over 60 years old than males from the pyramid. Another element of the national population should be the distribution. Brazil's population is not balanced on its terrain horizontally. In the southeast of Brazil, the cities are densely populated with a data of 40 to 100 people per kilometer in average, represented by Recife, Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, and Brasilia, which have a density of over 100 people per kilometer. Whereas in the northwest of Brazil, due to the occupation of Amazon rainforest and the long distance to the ocean, the population densities are always much lower than the southeast as an average data of under 1% per kilometer. The maternal fertility rate was 1.75 children per woman in 2018. The rate dropped to nearly 1.77 by 2013. There are multiple reasons to explain the circumstance of Brazil's fertility rate, such as use of contraception, sex education, family planning, and the share of women in the labor market, and the high cost of child rearing. However, from 2000 to 2013, the life expectancy at birth increased from 39.8 to 74.8 years. Simultaneously, the average lifespan of the elderly over 60 years old increased by 6.6% comparing with 2015 with 1990s. Furthermore, there must be a turning point to the population decline if the amount of the newborn infants keeps decreasing, because that means the amount of future population is being worse. Other than that, the other reason is the new concept. Indirectly, with the decrease of baby birth, senior people is roaming more and more in the country. The population growth rate of the people over 60 years old has increased from 10% to 20% less than 2 decades later. Those can bring the burdens to the government to respond to the aspects of social security, healthcare facilities, and housing. According to the 2015 World Aging and Health Report, the life expectancy of children born in Brazil in 2015 is 20 years longer than that of children in 50 years ago, which means the average maximum age of the seniors also increased by 50 years. Simultaneously, the proportion of households with seniors increased from 22.3% in 1983 to 31.2% in 2014. Another factor that contributes to aging is that a bunch of the elder is still working for their jobs. They are called older adults natively, because there's no restriction for retirees to continue working in Brazil. That causes the young people will have less opportunities to work for their dream jobs. Nevertheless, the government still have the ways to fix this situation. In Brazil, aging with dignity is considered as a crucial human right. Those seniors who are undergoing the issues from aging will be protected under the principles of a social state of demographic rights. The government released this statute for senior protection in 2003, stating that the family, community, society, and government are responsible for ensuring that the seniors enjoy the rights to the life, freedom, respect, dignity, food, health, family, and community support. The senior will receive an eligible lifelong pension of at least one wage, about $300 per month. Finally, for me, I would like to publish two policies that will contribute to change the appearance of current Brazil demographic. First, for fertility rate decline, increase Brazil's tourism and foreign trade in order to attract more immigrants and require Brazilian citizenship. These migrants will have different concepts of fertility compared with the local residents of Brazil, and will contribute to the increase in fertility to some extent, so that it will help with aging reduction. In addition, the local population is encouraged to give birth, and the economic incubation plan is implemented for residents living in the northwestern region. That is, to provide financial benefits to the incubator in the form of assistance or encouragement. Second, for aging, providing the elderly with cheap or free medical facilities and service. That is, to increase the construction of nursing homes in cities and villages, and to set up medical insurance for the elderly in major hospitals. At the same time, considering setting up online appointments and consultation services to provide convenience for the elderly who are disabled or unable to take care of themselves and are not accompanied by relatives. Thank you all guys for listening, and my link is at the red button.